Alright, what's up everybody? Back in the car line and just started reading What is Fitness, which is, if you're going to read one article written by Greg Glassman or just about CrossFit, read What is Fitness. It came out in 2002 and it addresses the question, what is fitness? It starts, what is fitness and who is fit? And in 2002, when this was written, actually it just starts with this article out of Outside magazine that crowned triathlete Mark Allen the fittest man on earth, in quotes. And it says, let's just assume for a moment that this famous 6-time winner of the Ironman triathlon is the fittest of the fit. Then what title do we bestow on the decathlete, Simon Pullman, who also possesses incredible endurance and stamina, yet crushes Mr. Allen in any comparison that includes strength, power, speed, and coordination? Perhaps the definition of fitness does not include strength, speed, power, and coordination, though that seems rather odd. And it just goes on to say that at the time of this being written, Merriam-Webster's Collegiate Dictionary defines fitness as being fit, and the ability to transmit genes and being healthy. Not a very measurable definition there. And then the NSCA, National Strength and Conditioning Association, the most respected publisher in exercise physiology, and its highly authoritative document, Essentials of Strength Training and Conditioning, does not even attempt a definition. So Greg Glassman set out to define fitness, and by defining fitness is able to then determine, well, what training program is most effective. If the goal is to increase your fitness, what's going to be the most effective way of doing that? And the short definition of fitness is work capacity across broad time and motor domains. But he has 4 different models for defining fitness, and collectively, these 4 models provide the basis for the CrossFit definition: work capacity across broad time and motor domains. No one of the models is complete in and of itself, but it's really helpful ways to think about in your training, day in, day out. Like, what's the point? Why are you doing what you're doing? Why is this workout program the way it is? Like, what's the goal? Why am I here? And with CrossFit, the goal is fitness. It's increasing your work capacity across broad time and motor domain. So it's explicitly, it's performance outcome driven. And what has been proposed and proven over 3 decades of CrossFit is that when you pursue performance, the other metrics that are important to people will follow, whether that's body composition or health metrics or other more difficult to define things like even mental health and social well-being, things like that. Anyway, one of the models, the first model, is the 10 general physical skills. And I've talked about this before. If your goal is optimum physical competence, then all the general physical skills must be considered. And they are cardiovascular respiratory endurance, stamina, strength, flexibility, power, speed, coordination, agility, balance, and accuracy. And we were just doing a workout today at CrossFit Spring Hill, or actually some pre-workout skill work that was handstand walk practice. And we had people doing all kinds of different scales, is what we call it, scaling or a progression of steps on the way towards handstand walking. And, you know, some people were simply holding a straight arm plank on the ground and just kind of shifting their weight side to side. So just like the top of a push-up. Some people were doing that from more of a piked position, hips up high, kind of over their shoulders. So, you know, starting to get a little bit inverted and just kind of shoulder taps, kind of shifting weight side to side. The next step, and there are lots of other steps, you know, there's lots of things you can do here, but the next step we did today was bear crawling, where, you know, you're moving essentially in that same piked position, hips up nice and high, legs relatively straight. A lot of the weight, you're trying to get weight into your shoulders. The next step would be just working on getting inverted, so handstand hold against the wall for balance. If you can do that, you're holding a handstand and just practicing. If you can imagine me upside down right now with my arms straight, which I can't do in a car, you know, just barely picking up your hands, alternating picking up your hands a little bit. shifting your weight side to side, starting to get that balance of walking on your hands. If you're able to do that, you can take a couple steps back from the wall and actually walk a couple steps into the wall upside down. If you're able to do that, you can start practicing just on the open floor, because you've proven you have the strength to support yourself. You can take a few steps. And there's some other things you can do too, like hold up a foam roller and somebody's holding it there, so that when you kick up, your feet can land on that for a kind of a safety, something to fall against. We did that with a few people today. Anyway, the whole point is, whether you were the person doing the straight arm plank or the shoulder taps in a straight arm plank, or in a pike or a bear crawl, or holding a handstand, or walking into the wall, or the full-on handstand walk, the point isn't whether or not you are handstand walking, it's that you're pursuing something along the journey to get there. Because we want to build capacity across all 10 of these general physical skills. And even if you're not handstand walking, if you're doing whatever is just a little bit uncomfortable for you, that you're not competent at yet, then you are pushing the needle forward on these skills like balance, coordination, agility. Obviously a lot of balance in the handstand walk, but there's also strength and stamina in your shoulders being upside down. So the point of practicing these higher skill movements, whether it's handstand walking, muscle ups, pull ups, toes to bar, I do believe that you can get there, that with patience, practice, training, consistency, focusing on your nutrition, which is the foundation of everything, you can get there. But whether you actually get there or not is not really the point. The benefit is in the pursuit of the skill. So, and this 10 general physical skills model for what is fitness is a really great way to look at whatever you're doing in that day's workout. The point of the workout is not to do the RX version of the workout. It's nice to have that carrot dangled out there, like I want to be able to RX it. It's a good goal. But the point is to get a stimulus for you that's pushing that needle just a little bit further every time. So something I like to say is that scaling, what we're doing with scaling is, the goal is not, well, I need to make this workout easier for me. It's, I need to make this workout as hard as I can possibly make it and still be able to do it safely and hit the stimulus or get close to the stimulus, meaning just like, okay, about how long should this take me? How should it feel? What skills am I trying to build? Coordination, accuracy, balance, stamina, strength, flexibility, etc. And if you're hitting that stimulus and challenging yourself a little further than you've gone before, it's a little bit of comfort in discomfort, as we like to say, you're doing it right. And you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. You're doing what most people aren't doing, which is making themselves uncomfortable on purpose in order to improve their fitness and health, and therefore life and impact on the world around them. So 10 general physical skills. It's also a great way to evaluate any fitness program or regimen or brand, is like, okay, what of these 10 general physical skills am I improving and what might be missing? So with CrossFit, the goal is to hit all 10 of those, and we do. A well-programmed CrossFit program, you're going to improve all 10 of those. But just think about, I'll try to pick something generic, so I'm not picking on anyone specific. No, I won't. Let's pick on Orange Theory. Why not? So with Orange Theory, you're going to get a lot of cardiorespiratory endurance. Stamina, the ability of body systems to process, deliver, store, and utilize energy. So you're getting stamina in some domains, but in others you're not, such as like heavy lifting for multiple reps. Strength, you're getting some strength, but you're definitely limited. There's a ceiling to how much strength you're going to build, just because there's you're not lifting close to your max weight, your max ability to lift a certain weight object. So there's a ceiling there for sure. Flexibility, maybe some, but not as much as like an overhead squat or a front squat or some of the other things that you'll do in CrossFit. Power, for sure, there's power on the rower. I know they do some weightlifting as well. But again, if you're not hitting like a truly heavy load for like a power clean or a snatch or a jerk or a max height box jump, there's a ceiling to how much power you're developing. Speed, the ability to minimize the time cycle of a repeated movement. Yeah, you're working on that for sure. But again, in a pretty limited function, rowing and some running on a treadmill. Coordination, a little bit, but not nearly as much as you're going to get from practicing high skill gymnastics and Olympic weightlifting. Agility, same thing. Some, but not as much as you could. Balance, some, but not nearly as much as you can with practicing things like handstands and etc. Single leg squats. Accuracy, maybe a little bit, but not like you do practicing a snatch or a wall ball shot, or some of the other things we do. So that's just one example and a way to kind of think about, what am I doing for my fitness, and is it really making me as well-roundedly fit as I can be? Okay, car line's moving. See you guys.